Velma again. This is all conservative media seems to be able to talk about, including Eric Bolling, who, by the way, is on Newsmax now because of sexual misconduct allegations. But he still is projecting his own sexual, I guess, feelings onto the screen for his audience. He is also, much like Steven Crowder, quite upset that Velma is a lesbian now. And then he goes into this bizarre train of thought about trans women in connection to to Velma Gate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, let's listen. Yeah. Jeez.
Well, did you see that? Our beloved Scooby-Doo has gone woke. Velma has come out as LGBTQ. I'm guessing she's the L, but she may be the B. I don't know. Perhaps the T would mean she's been a dude all along, all this time, right? I'm not sure. Maybe it's the Q. Truth be told, I can't really tell the difference between most of the letters. It always confuses me.
That makes it hard to read.
Decides he's a woman, becomes a woman, then sleeps with women. I mean, why don't you say a man? Sorry, don't hate on me, liberals and lefties. I don't hate y'all. I just don't fully understand the different categories. But you do you. But do we really need our kids exposed to those ideas? Scooby-Doo. A kid's cartoon. Again, adults, no issue with what you want to be, but kids and cartoons geared straight at kids, no gracias. By the way, Velma, she's gay now? Don't worry to my straight male friends. Daphne, she's still straight as far as we can see. And as far as I can see, by the way, HBO Max, is Fred straight? I mean, if Velma is lesbian,
who knows?
I can see Fred being gay. I don't know. Scooby?
Could be.
What do you think, Fred? Is he gay?
Hilarious.
I feel like that was
a terrible Scooby impression.
Yeah, read on the fly too. Like he seemed very confused as to what he was, his own, like, with the whatever he was reading on the screen. He was not confident in what he was talking about.
I mean, dude, just like find a way to whack it to SpongeBob or something. Like, we don't need your entire why is this man who's in his 50s, I think, still so concerned about Scooby-Doo? And I guess he doesn't understand that trans people, like a trans woman, can also be a lesbian. Like, that does not compute with him.
Also, I wouldn't describe Scooby-Doo as anti-woke. I mean, the one through line in Scooby-Doo is that real estate developers are evil, and that they're oftentimes trying to like scam you or some sort of local town out of the land that they should be using for like some sort of better public purpose. Also they do crossovers with like the Harlem Globetrotters. I feel like Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island was kind of like anti-slavery. Scooby-Doo and the Witch.
Brandon, they did have that episode, or at least one episode on that Confederate sort of plantation in Louisiana where they, like, it turns out that the Confederate ghosts, like Beauregard Sanders, I think is one of the names, were actually the good guys. But I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, that was Scooby-Doo and like The Witches, a Ghost. No, that was Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island. That was the first movie. I'm going to give that one a pass though, because that was a good movie. I enjoyed that one. I still enjoy that one.
I loved it too as a kid. I just didn't realize what the gray uniform signified back then.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put it out there. The Confederacy is evil, but I don't think you should enslave their ghosts to like work on your plantation for all of eternity. Maybe just a few years. And then you let them go. That's going to be like the compassionate socialism that I champion. Don't.
I mean, this is why the left loses. Brandon, this is why the left loses. You are just trying to let them get off with a free pass.
Yeah, that's gonna let the counter revolution take hold if you do that.
Honestly, you have
certainly it's gonna let the necromancers take hold.
Well, you don't want to hold the Confederacy's ghost accountable. I mean, come on.
I know we kind of seem like we're petering out on this topic, but I do want to insert another clip on the exact same topic.
Is it now like another conservative? Like, what happened?
Is it Ben Shapiro? I want to hear Ben Shapiro on this.
No, this is Ingram and a 52-year-old guy.
This is Raymond Arroyo. This is Raymond Arroyo, who is Laura Ingram's like in-house like culture critic, and he is talking now about not only Velma but how like many different characters of his youth have been completely bastardized.
Oh, okay. So is he going to join in Tucker Carlson crying about how like the green M&M doesn't get him hard anymore?
It's
or whatever?
Even lamer than that, actually, if you can believe it.
Listen, I gotta see this.
My problem with this is, and we've seen it it's been creeping in increments. Beloved characters of childhood.
No, they're not
where
allowed.
The adult values are being imposed on them.
They're not allowed.
Laura, there was a Winnie the Pooh movie that just came out not long ago.
Just pause it real quick. Like completely omitting the existence of gay people that's an adult value. It's an adult value we reject in the year 2022. Like that's the value you're trying to impose here. Sorry.
Winnie the Pooh and Piglet are serial killers because Winnie the Pooh entered public domain. There he is, and he's a serial killer with Piglet.
That's free speech. That's free speech, man.
People who didn't create these characters are manipulating them and naming them in the public imagination.
No, they're doing
That's
the
my
naming.
biggest objection here.
Oh,
And if they
wow.
wanted to get to the history of Velma, the New York Times said she's canonically a lesbian. Well, when Hanna-Barbera created her, it was a spin-off of a character from the
I
original.
never was into Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
I think
I love
that's a boys,
Scooby-Doo.
right? That's a boys' cartoon. I don't think the girls. Oh, you're not even allowed to say that anymore. Sorry, you can't.
I respect her for saying
I
it.
like it.
Everyone's pretending like they are.
Yes, thank you so much for your bravery, Laura Ingram.
Thanks for
I
just saying,
thought
like,
that
I
was-
don't know.
I thought that was interesting because he's basically making the case. He went further than just like hating on there being a gay or lesbian character. He said that creators should have eternal copyright over their characters they create, so nobody can ever do anything to them whatsoever.
Well, that's a conservative principle, being pro intellectual property, right? So at least he's
Yeah,
consistent
that's
there,
true.
if not being insanely creepy by having way too much of an encyclopedic knowledge of children's stories and knowing
The
just
Toby Gillis show.
He definitely had to look that up. He definitely had to look that up right before the show and had it written down there. And he thought it was going to be a great point because he's like, yeah, no one actually watches Scooby-Doo on the right. They're just mad about this. So it makes me seem like I watch a lot of Scooby-Doo. But like I said, like I watch a lot of Scooby-Doo. It's a very Halloween appropriate show to watch for those of you who don't like to be too scared. And I can tell you that canonically, she's been in a lot of things, like most characters across canon. Like when they talk about how Superman is canonically X, Y, and Z, there have just been 1,000 different iterations of Scooby-Doo. The only through line is that Frank Welker has like always been Fred in all of them. And that's like basically it.
well, I mean,
Wait, whoa, hold on. I wanted to look this up because I honestly am not familiar with the Dobie Gillis show. Apparently, Velma was based on the character on the Dobie Gillis show. Zelda Gilroy was the character, and Zelda Gilroy was played by she was known then as Sheila James, but now she's Sheila James Cool, and she is an American politician and retired actress serving on the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, and she previously served in the California State Senate and the California State Assembly. And ready for this? She was the first openly gay state legislator in California, which
Whoa.
means
Wow.
Velma being a lesbian stays true to Zelda's character on the Dobie Gillis show being played by a gay woman. Thank
Knockout.
you, ladies and gentlemen.
Knockout. You took them to the Logic Octagon, Matt. You took them to the Logic Octagon, and they
Hey.
snapped their own ankles trying to
TKO.
get in the door.
woo.
Always historicize, as they say. Also, I just looked up. I can't find any indication that the Rainbow Puppy on Blue's Clues is actually about like LGBT stuff. Like everything.
I
I'm
thought they
reading-
were referring to like the Steve replacement might be like LGBTQ. I don't know. I don't want to,
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Well,
sure. Well.
I mean, I read the book The Rainbow Fish growing up. I didn't realize that I was being indoctrinated by the woke left, but
It's so funny to be mad. Like that's ultimately a very elitist complaint, to be mad that Winnie the Pooh has entered public domain. Like it's
Yeah.
been forever. Of course it should be public domain. This culture belongs to all of us. If people want to make Winnie the Pooh pornography, they can. If they want to make Winnie the Pooh horror movies, if they want to make Winnie the Pooh like historical fiction, like they can do whatever they want.
well,
They
it's
definitely
also,
already do all that stuff. Especially
yeah,
the first
I'm
one.
sure there's Winnie the Pooh porn, but it also just like he didn't really hit the notes that Laura Ingram probably wanted, because they only really care about the gay people being represented in media. She could care less about a slasher flick about Winnie the Pooh.
I don't care. She's like, I don't care if Winnie the Pooh has an AR-15. I just care if he's gay.
In fact, that's what she'd like. Yeah,
I'd
she
actually
just
prefer if he had a Lusa, just some shell casings donning his shoulder. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, slasher movies are much more like much older rather, like moral panic to be afraid that the kids are going to see. She just wanted him to hammer home on like the kids shouldn't see Velma or any other character in any media that a child might see do anything that might even allude to the fact that they are not straight in sexuality.
Yeah. All right. I think we've hit every angle
Glad
on
we
the
did
Velma
this.
story.
I agree. What is everyone's favorite Scooby-Doo villain, though? Just real quick. Not the Confederacy. You can't say that.
I was I had like my parents were a little bit authoritarian about my television viewing. So for like the great part of my life, I was only allowed to watch PBS, which is kind of embarrassing. So I missed out on a lot of cultural stuff. But then so anyway, anyway, go on.
So that
now
means you were actually.
I need to talk to my therapist about it.
There's a friend.
You
Oh,
were
go ahead,
catching
Vijay.
Steven Crowder over on Arthur then.
I was a big Arthur person.
I
Can I just point out though that out of those 3 clips that we watched, out of all 3 of them, the only one that seemed genuinely upset and angry that Velma is a lesbian was Steven Crowder. Like the supposed comedy show was the one where he actually was like not doing a bit. He was like really like upset. Like he was like covering it more straight than the other 2, programs on supposed news channels.
That's because that's a child star and the voice of the brain. He is concerned that they might turn the brain trans, and that would retroactively in real life make him trans because he at some point in the past portrayed the brain, along with all of the obvious Brain X Velma fan fiction that is online right now that you could read that is currently now out of date and no longer relevant to like the modern youth.